Nice.
Got it. All right, I'm going to go on mute now.
Okay. All right, I'm officially going to start the meeting tonight. Our Sergeant of Arms is not here, so I will be the acting Sergeant of Arms because nobody else is the acting Sergeant of Arms. I guess I'm the Sergeant of Arms. We have a few guests, and I believe a guest on Zoom. So our president's going to get to them, and I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to our president, Vanessa Waller. So please welcome Vanessa.
Thank you, David, and welcome to members and guests alike. I see several people in person as well as on Zoom. So usually what we do is to send a special welcome to our guests is we will welcome our guests both in person and on Zoom. And typically, Dr. Harvey Tran has volunteered to kind of be the liaison in person to welcome our in-person guests. I guess it looks like Harvey's still here. So Harvey, if you want to welcome some of our new folks here in person.
I'd like to thank you, Madam Toastmaster Vanessa. I'd like to share with you guys our two stellar guests here, Takei and also Shaw. Would you guys make an introduction?
Yes, I'm Saul. I work in the cabinet industry and manufacturing, and I don't know what else to say.
Welcome. Great to have you.
Hi, my name is Taiki. It's my second time here, and I'm looking forward to this meeting. Thank you.
Awesome.
We're very honored to have you both here. And if you guys need anything, better call Saul from Breaking Bad. As you all know, Vanessa, our great guest, and always lovely to see Vanessa. I mean, Heather, sorry. So I was thinking of looking up at Vanessa. Heather, can you make an introduction?
Yes. Thank you, Harvey. Hi, I'm Heather. I am here practicing my public speaking and my articulation through the public speaking process. Most of you recognize me because I'm coming more often now. So to be a guest is kind of embarrassing. So I did receive an email to sign up. It got lost in the email shuffle. So if anybody would love to send me an email, I would definitely would like to join officially. Yeah. Now I'm accountable. So thank you, Harvey. I appreciate it.
We're very happy to have you here. Back to you, sir.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Dr. Harvey, for helping us welcome our in-person guests. And so exciting to have one of our guests joining us soon as a member. And I know we have at least a couple guests on Zoom with us tonight as well. And I got the chance to say hello to Gladys. She's joining us for the very first time. This is her first Toastmasters meeting. So welcome again, Gladys. And did you want to say a quick intro of yourself so we can get to know you?
Sure. My name is Gladys Knights, and I'm originally from New York. I live here in Charlotte, and this is my first Toastmasters, as you've heard. I'm interested in being able to speak better, articulate my words, and get my point across much better. So I'm hoping this will help with that, and I'm looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Well, we're so glad you're joining us. It looks like we just have one other guest on Zoom, Eugene, who's actually I think maybe the Eugene, if I'm thinking of the right person, who is a former member, but welcome, Eugene. Good to have you joining us.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so for those of you who don't know me, as David mentioned, I'm Vanessa Waller. I'm currently serving as the president of the club, and I usually just kick off the meeting every Tuesday. And because we have two dynamic speeches coming up, I don't want to spend too much time on the intro, so I will turn it over to the next helper in our agenda tonight, which is going to be none other than someone who is leading us through the meeting. And this is also our Vice President of Public Relations, who's doing an excellent job with our social media and outreach. We're so excited to have Lan Kpuih joining us as our Toastmaster of the evening. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Vanessa. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Lan, and I am the Toastmaster for this evening. Now, before we get started, I want you guys to look at somebody next to you or across from you and ask them this questions. Did you choose to sit next to me, or was it a coincidence? And for those of you who are on Zoom, please feel free to send somebody a hi message or anything like that, but don't send anything weird, okay? Now, you may be wondering, why did I have you do this? And that is because I want you to get comfortable and get loosening up. And if you happen to come in when the meeting has already started, well, now you got a chance to say hi to somebody. And it also correlates with my theme for this evening, which is decisions and choose. And the reason why I chose this theme is because I know that all of us in here has been in a situation where we have to make decisions of one over the other. For me personally, I have, and I'll tell you a story. So for the past couple of months, I have been in a little bit of a dilemma, I would say, at least for me. So what happened was, I was in a situation where I wanted to pay off my car loan because I didn't want to make monthly payments every single month. Every time I get paid, it goes directly to my car payment. However, I also hesitated because I'd never had that X amount of money in my saving accounts before. So at the time, it was pleasant to look at and it was nice. So for a couple of weeks, I kind of hesitated, went back and forth. Should I pay it off? Should I not? Until finally I said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So today, I finally paid off my car loan. Thank you. Thank you for that. And throughout this meeting tonight, I will share 3 points on how you could come up with a decisions if you're struggling with one right now, if you're going through one. And in order for this meeting to run smoothly, I have some of my amazing fellow Toastmasters that will be helping me to facilitate this meeting tonight. So at this time, I would like to welcome our joke master for this evening. Please welcome John.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lan. Good evening, Queen City and fellow guests who have joined us this evening. I'll be serving as the inspirational master / joke master. And let's start off with tonight's theme about choice and decisions. Let's talk about what's most front and center right now, and that's your choice to be here. You all could have been at home on your couches, eating pizza, watching Netflix episodes of what have you, but you chose to be here. You chose to make a conscious effort to improve yourself and your communication skills. You surrounded yourself with like-minded people who all serve the same goal and all support your effort. So I'd say you're off to a good start. Good choice. Now, in the spirit of taking the decisions and choice theme a little bit further, I truly believe that my life, your life, none of our lives are truly determined by our life circumstances. Rather, I feel it's how we choose to respond that matters. If you control the input, what's between your ears, you can influence the output, how you respond to it. Now, one of my favorite life hacks / life success metaphors is something that a few of our Toastmasters have heard before, and that's the concept of the thermostat versus the thermometer. Now, I know Toastmaster David, and if that is truly my good brother, Toastmaster, former Toastmaster Eugene up there, I know he's heard this one, but I'm going to repeat it. The concept is as follows. Let's examine what those two devices are. First, there's a thermometer. The thermometer just measures the external stimuli, the external environment. If it's too hot, the mercury bar goes up. Too cold, it goes down. Who's in control, or what is in control? The environment is in control. Conversely, a thermostat also measures temperature, but has a very key distinction. You are able to set the temperature based on extremes outside to make the internal temperature more comfortable, or room temperature. Now, how does that apply to positive thinking? How does that apply to our life's choices? Well, it's simple. A person who acts like a thermometer is fully a reflection of their life circumstances. Their happiness, their joy, their fulfillment is all based on life's outcomes. They're an if-then person. You know those type. If I just get that job promotion, well, then I'll be happy. Or if I just meet that special someone, then I'll feel loved. You see, everything becomes about the outcome. Life, good or bad, is in full control. And when life is in full control, it's great when there's warm, sunny days. But what do we know that life does to us? You have the cold, rainy days, and it tends to come in succession. What happens then? That's where things really go off the rails for a thermometer. They start believing in that negative criticism. They start feeling, they associate failure with themselves. It becomes personal. It's not about a learning opportunity anymore. They develop this victim mentality. They actively seek out evidence that supports this perspective of negativity, of their life's misfortune. And by doing so, you run the risk of the negative feedback loop. What's the negative feedback loop? You start doubting yourself. You start doubting yourself, you underperform. You underperform, you end up failing, which just goes back and reinforces your original viewpoint anyway. See, I'm no good. And that is what's so dangerous about a thermometer. A person who's a thermostat, on the other hand, they don't care about life's external stimuli. They don't care about negative criticism. Happiness for them is not an outcome. They choose to be happy. They are in full control because they control the input. They control what goes in between their ears so they can impact what comes out, the output, how they respond. They're confident, they're stable. They know they can achieve, they know they can overcome, and they know they can persevere because they are controlling the lenses of which they see things. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, my inspirational message is this: we can't control the hands we are dealt. We can control how we play the hand. Be more like a thermostat and less like a thermometer. Toastmaster Lan, back to you.
Thank you for that inspirational message, John. Next, I would like to introduce our grammarian for this evening. Please welcome Andrea. Is it okay to shake hand or are we good? No.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I am your grammarian and your counter this evening. So I am the person who is going to track how many times we say so, and, but, use other words that gets in our way. And the ahs, the ahs and the uhs. I am also in charge of coming up with the word of the day, which I didn't put up here, I'm sorry. The word of the day is appreciation. So this month I've learned that it is Teachers Appreciation Week, which was last week. This week is Nurses Appreciation Week, and this month is Military Appreciation Week. So all of those people have service involved, and we have to appreciate those who choose to serve rather than to just receive. So that is why I chose appreciation. Appreciation means that you actually appreciate what someone is doing for you. And if you walk into a nurse's station right now, or work into a doctor's office, a school, your job, they're everywhere. Military, matter of fact, the military The reason why women got in the military was because of nursing. So if you're looking to appreciate somebody this week, tell your nurse, wherever you are, at work, at the doctor's office, or even at school, thank you. Back to you, fellows.
Next, we have our timer for this evening. So please welcome Neil.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lan. I will be the timer for the evening. My job is to help keep all the speakers on track in terms of how long they're speaking. There's going to be 3 types of speakers: the prepared speeches, and they're both running for 5 to 7 minutes. If you are participating in table topics, that'll be 1 to 2 minutes, and the evaluations will be 2 to 3 minutes. So I will be using our high-tech light system over here. When the light is green, that means you are at the beginning of your, I'm saying a lot of ums, but you're at the beginning of where you can start to close your speech. So for a prepared speech, that'd be at 5 minutes. Yellow light will be at 6 minutes, and the red light doesn't mean we don't appreciate what you're saying, but that will mean that it's time to wrap it up. Thank you.
And next we have our ballot counter, which for this evening is going to be a little unique. So we'll improvise as we go. And the first point that I want to share with you guys tonight when it comes to making decisions and choosing one is you want to give yourself some time. Oftentimes we are clouded with our emotions. Our emotion, can cloud our judgment. So say for instance, you receive a bad text. Your instant response is to go ahead and reply, right? You want to pour out your feelings, throw out all of your angers, but that's not always the best case because you're not very rational. So please, please, please give yourself some time so that you can make rational decisions. And I know that we've all been waiting for this moment, and that is the speeches for tonight. And the first speaker for tonight is actually doing his Effective Coaching Pathway Level 2, Understanding Your Leadership Style, titled Selfish Leader. Now, he has given this speech before at our sister club, South Park, but I haven't heard it, so I'm actually very excited to hear it. So please put your hands together for David.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lan. Let me set up real quick. Always like to time myself, even though we do have a timer, just in case. So I've had problems before where it's just in case happened. But thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My speech tonight is in alignment with my Pathways project, which determines the type of leader I am. And in order to determine the type of leader I am, you go on to Toastmasters International's website and you do an assessment of 6 to 8 questions, and it tells you the type of leader you are. I've never been a big fan of assessments. You really can't determine what type of leader I am with 6 or 8 questions. You can't determine my personality type with 6 or 8 questions. And I know there's some people that read Glamour magazine, and they might see an assessment that 6 or 8 questions, whether you're a good mate for them or not. And if you follow that advice, that's probably why you're still reading Glamour magazine. No, but I'm just kidding. But you can't determine who somebody is because we all kind of know what the answers are. Even now, when we try to get a job, HR will have you do an assessment to determine if you're a good fit for the company or not. They'll ask you a question like, if a customer walks into the store, do you A, ignore them, B, acknowledge them and ask them if they need assistance, or C, try to upsell them on a product that they can't afford nor that they need? Now, if you don't get this answer right, you probably shouldn't be in the workforce. And I think that's why they do the assessment, to try to weed out the big dummies. Therefore, I didn't use Toastmasters assessment for my leadership style because I know the answers. I'm truthful to myself because when I read an assessment like that, I know what answer to write, and it doesn't come back properly. So my assessment for myself was that I am a selfish leader. Now, when I say that, there's 2 types of selfish leaders. There's the first type that we most commonly think about. It's It's that business owner who pays himself a lot of money, but he pays his employees minimum wage, no benefits. He might buy substandard raw materials to make his products, and he doesn't care about customer service. And he'll ride that gravy train until he goes out of business. And then he'll fire all of his employees and stiff his vendors. And then he will start another business and keep the process going. That's not the type of selfish leader I'm talking about. In fact, we all know a selfish leader like that. You can probably envision him. And the person I'm thinking about is a weasel. And if you can imagine a weasel, you might know who I'm talking about. And some of you aren't old enough to remember the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. But in that movie, there was a guy who went around capturing the kids. He had a net. And he'd capture the kids and put them in a basement. He looks just like him. And his name is Martin Shkreli. He was in the pharmaceutical industry. And he was in charge of a product called Daraprim. And Daraprim was a pill that was life-saving. It wasn't elective. You didn't need it for, it wasn't Viagra or a mood change or a diet. It was a life-saving pill. And literally overnight, he changed the price from $13.50 to $750 overnight. Now, many people couldn't afford it. Insurance companies sure as heck wasn't going to pay for it. And I remember an interview that he did on one of the business channels. And they asked him about it. And they said, you know, are you going to help people out because they might die? Or are you going to just keep the price the same? Or are you going to be a good person to help out? And he's like, no. And he had this smirky smile, like he was so proud of himself. Well, you know what they say about karma. If you don't know, he got arrested for security exchange fraud. And he got, I think it was 7 years. And then shortly after that, he got in trouble with the federal government for price gouging, where he can no longer be in the pharmaceutical industry. And I believe it was $64 million fine that he got. So karma will catch up with you. But again, he is a selfish leader, and you don't want to be like him. The selfish leader I'm talking about is what I do, where I am trying to benefit myself, but I believe it helps others, like Toastmasters. I wouldn't be able to stand up here and give speeches if it wasn't for all of you, if it wasn't for the Toastmaster, the timer, the evaluators. Therefore, I reach out to you, I support you, I encourage you and say, hey, why don't you try this role, do this role? Because if you're not doing those roles, I'm just standing here all by myself. Therefore, I think I'm a little selfish, but I think it benefits others. Same with us being here tonight. Last year when I was president of the club, the church said, hey, you can go hybrid if you want to come in. And I thought, I want to be standing here in person. And I did. So I started coming here, and for about a month, I was the only one. Then other people started showing up, and it snowballed. And here we all are. And it was a selfish act on my part because I wanted to be in person. And now we're all here. And it was Zig Ziglar, motivational speaker. It said, you can get anything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want in life. And that's kind of where I'm at. Hopefully I'm helping each and every one of you. Those of you on Zoom, I'm always encouraging to sign for roles, because as you all progress along your Toastmaster venue or travels, it's benefiting me, because I'm here. I'm going to hear back from Vanessa, a little feedback and evaluation, but everybody here is important. When you sign up for a role, realize you're not doing it just for yourself. You're doing it for everybody else in this room and on Zoom. You're part of a club. You're helping support each and every person that you know here. So you can get whatever you want. You can practice your public speaking if you help enough other people with their public speaking. Madam Toastmaster. And Madam Toastmaster, this is her first time. I want to say that I appreciate you. Okay.
Thank you for the wonderful speech, David. And next, we have one of my favorite speakers, actually, because he's very inspirational. I've learned quite a few things from him, and I know he's in a level that I am not even there yet. So put your hands together for Dr. Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Lan. You gave me more credit than I deserve, but I appreciate it. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster and honorable guests here as well as online. Now, I have a question for you all. Don't you wish that you can create a social media account, a social media campaign that would allow you the freedom to travel the world, to work wherever you want to work on day that you want to work, anywhere, anytime, depending on how much money you can make, which correlate to the amount of effort that you put in. Now raise your hand. How many of you have a Twitter? Wow, that's the majority. How about online? As you can see, nowadays we are living in the middle of a digital revolution. As a result, you have the emergence of various forms of social media. You have Twitter, as you know, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, so on and so forth. There's many other social media platforms that I don't even know about. And they're very, very important nowadays. Now, when people think about social media, they tend to think of all the different platforms that I share with you. But let me ask you this. Have you thought about social media being quote unquote social capital? Think about that for 1 second. What exactly is social capital? Can someone raise your hand and let me know, what do you think is social capital? Absolutely. Great, great answer. How many people you can influence through your channel? Now, the relationship that you build over time, let's say if you have a Twitter or an Instagram account and all you do is just troll. You post silly stuff in there, nobody cares. That is not social capital. Social capital is when you build connection all over the world and you strengthen that connection over time by delivering value, by adding positive message, just like Toastmaster John Cabello. Every time I come here, I listen and try to learn and to expand my comfort zone from his speech. That's how you add and strengthen the connection through your social networking. And the larger your social media following, let's say one day you launch a company, or let's say if you are into selling stuff online, guess what? You can tap into your social media connection to translate that into social capital. And by that, as soon as your site is open, you have thousands of people, depending on how much people you have on social media, coming in and buy your product. So instantly, the social connection that you built over the year now translate into your capital, money that you can get from it. And the larger your following, the more money that you can make. Let me show you my social media. This is my Twitter. I have 7,802 followers. Guess what? How many followers did I have until I start to monetize? Make a guess. 2,000? Excellent guess. Now much less than that. Even before I have 500 followers, maybe even less, 400 something, I was able to start to monetize them because I started to market my subscription-based business, my other business, through my social media platform. Without the social media platform, I would not have any social capital. Now, I'm just a small fish. My friend, The Rock Trading, John, I know him when his social media was nothing, even less following than me. Just within a year, he ramped up to 135,000 followers. Even Barack Obama followed his stock tip, and the real Barack Obama, as well as other famous people. So nowadays, based on my rough estimation, The Rock is banking in big bucks. And that is through social capital. Now, fellow Toastmaster, when you build your social capital or social media platform, I want to share with you some of the tips that I use, which can help you. Here are 7 tips. The first one is to make sure that you are organized. If you look at this slide right here, like the one just before that, I use Linktree, which organized all of my other social media platform into one convenient location. So my follower from one platform can just go on to the next platform. And here are the other 7. Be organized, be interactive, be consistent, be respectful. Think big, monetize, and just do it. What good could the social media platform be? You're wasting your time if you don't monetize it. Start to sell something. Maybe you're consulting, market your book, market your service, and continue to build and enhance your brand through it. The other thing is to think big, because if you don't think big enough, you are denying yourself the opportunity. I strongly believe that every single one in here can do so much more than you can imagine. Let's say you want to just have a 6-figure salary from your business, then you start to travel. There's nothing wrong with that. But I strongly believe if you increase that by 100-fold, let's just set it to $100 million. Fine, you don't reach your goal, you hit $20 million. Good, hey, you can get a nice sailboat, traveling and also doing your stuff, which is great. Now, lastly, just fellow Toastmaster and honorable guests, what I say is useless until you do it. Just do it. Don't wait until the condition is perfect. Just do it. And always be consistent. Post every day, every week, or every month. Set out that schedule and just do it. And I strongly believe that every single one of us can ride this wave and enhance our current business as well as our life.
Thank you, Dr. Harvey. And at this time, I would like to call for a timers report. So please welcome Neil back.
Thank you. David, your speech came in at 5 minutes, 55 seconds. And Dr. Harvey, 6 minutes, 24 seconds. So both speeches qualify.
Thank you, Neil. Now, the second point that I want to share when it comes to making a decisions and choosing which one to go with is you want to gather relevant information. Say, for instance, you're applying to your jobs. You probably want to gather as much information as you can and perhaps read the reviews. And I know some people say, hey, it's a bad thing to read reviews from previous employee or whatnot. But I think it's a good thing to do so because I'd rather go in with a lot of information in my mind so that I can make a decision rather than not having enough information. And for the next portions of this meeting, for our guests, you'll actually have an opportunity to participate in the meeting. So I hope you're gathering some information because for the next part, you actually get to participate. So at this time, I would like to welcome our table topic masters for this evening. Please give it up for Sean.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests online, and everyone else watching. As Lan was mentioning, it is your choice whether or not you want to partake in table topics or not, both in person and online. In today's table topics, it is about choice. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be giving a statement, a scenario, and I'll give you two options. Option A or option B. And you have to talk and explain why you chose option A or option B. Do I have any volunteers? Thank you. We have a volunteer in here. Junior, let me go over the scenario and I'll hand over the mic to you. This will be on, would you prefer traveling, hiking, or career? Would you, the categories that I have, would you prefer traveling, hiking, or career? Career, good choice. Well, no, wait, I was thinking you said career. Sorry. Career, okay, so here's the question. Okay, traveling. Your holiday trip is coming to an end and you have to go home. You get to the airport and find out that your flight has been canceled. They give you the choice of A, staying the extra night, which they pay for, and take the flight tomorrow, or B, catch the red-eye flight that leaves at midnight. What's your choice and why?
I am not a fan of red-eye flights. I do not do those. I'd rather stay comfortable in a place where someone is paying for my stay and gather my thoughts, gather me and everything and my feelings about the trip being canceled, and just reflecting on what just happened and just relaxing instead of going on. I know I will be home the next day, so me staying at home or me staying in a hotel would be my number one choice.
Thank you, Junior. Excellent choice. I would choose the same. I would choose the same. Anybody else? Online, in person? We have two over here. We'll go with Teak. Tyke. So here's one more. Would you rather have traveling, hiking, or career as the categories of questions? Career. I only have one career. So he's taken it. You've been at a company for 10 years. Working hard, moving up the corporate ladder. Your manager retires and they're offering you a position at a 20% increase. Your salary will increase by 20%. That evening, your best friend contacts you to join the recently funded startup. You'll be doing something you enjoy and you'll own 5% of the growing company, but you'll only make 50% of what you make now for the next 3 years. What would you choose?
I would choose the startup company because I just like starting new thing as a career. Recently, I started working for this company and I didn't like the job. So I've been working for this company for 3 months and I told my boss that, hey, I want to quit. And then she's like, oh, you should stay for this company because this company is good. And but I'm like, no, I don't like this job. And then she's like, oh, please stay. So I was like, okay, I'll go part-time. And because my goal is to start my own company, start my own business. And I need some time to invest in my business. So I would choose the startup company. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent decision. I've made that decision not once, but a few times.
Sean?
And we have one online.
Interrupt. It looks like we have a couple volunteers here on Zoom, if I'm not mistaken. I know we had Eugene raise his hand and we had Carla as well. So if we have a chance for 2 more, maybe we can have some of our Zoom participants go ahead.
Thank you, Vanessa. I think we do have time and we'll choose. I see you mentioned Carla. Carla, would you like to? She's
Yes.
shaking her head. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Carla. Carla, the categories are traveling or hiking. Sorry, career is now gone.
Traveling.
Another traveling question. Okay. You entered a raffle and won. You won 2 tickets to an all-inclusive 2-week vacation to any one of these locations that I'm going to list. Where would you go and with who? 2 tickets. Here are the 5 locations: Japan, Argentina, Spain, Poland, or Tanzania. Carla, the show is yours.
Well, I appreciate that question because I've often thought about this. I did win a trip. I got to go to Las Vegas and bring a friend. I got $300 gambling money. I got to stay at the MGM and it was a lot of fun. But if I were going to pick one of the places that you just said, I think that I would go to Tanzania because it is the country I consider to be the least modernized. And I think that I would learn the most by being around such a different culture and a different way of things being done. I also think that 2 weeks is a really nice time. And if I were going to bring someone with me, I have 4 sisters and a brother. I'd do a lottery and let one of them win, and then they could come with me and we would have a really good time together. And I'm hoping that I can stay at one of those high-end hotels and not have to tent or camp out. So thank you very much for that question. I cannot see the green light. So someone raised, there's a green light. Thank you very much. I made it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Tanzania, excellent choice. Yes, this is Serengeti. I heard was fantastic there. So that's a bucket list item to do. Madam Toastmaster, do we have We do have
We
time for
also
one more.
had one more on Zoom. We have Eugene, who's a former member who volunteered for one last table topic.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa. We will have Eugene. Eugene, I have one more traveling question remaining and also a hiking question. Which one would you prefer?
Let's go with hiking since we haven't done that one yet.
Okay, here we go. You and a friend meet up for a hike. Your goal is to reach the top of the mountain. As you start walking, you see the trail map with two trails. The first trail is easy with a gradual incline, but not that scenic. The second trail has the best views, but it's also the hardest with the steepest inclines and declines. What trail would you take?
Thank you, Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Great question. And knowing myself, I'm a person who likes to accept the challenge, and I'm one who enjoys beautiful views. I'm definitely going with a more difficult trail. I actually frequently hike here in Charlotte at I should say outside of Charlotte at, what's the name of the trail? I can't think of it right now. Either way, when I go to this particular trail, I usually take the more difficult one, even when I'm alone or when I'm with friends, because it gives me, great joy to accomplish that difficult task. As John mentioned earlier, you can either be the thermostat or the thermometer. I choose to be the thermometer and believe that I can accomplish that task. And it's just one of those things that's a part of who I am. And I appreciate John actually sharing that metaphor again. He actually, as he mentioned, did share that sometime in the past, and it always stood out to me. So I'd use that as motivation to choose the more difficult trail to see those beautiful views and accomplish that challenge. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Eugene. I appreciate, Madam Toastmaster, do we have, or?
I think we might want to move on to our evaluation portion just to keep us on track, but thank you so much for squeezing all those in. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate all of your responses. Thank you very much. Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Sean. All right. Thank you, Sean, for those wonderful questions. And at this time, I would like to call for a timers report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lan. We had 4 great table topic speakers today. Junior, 35 seconds. You might have to help me with your names. Taiki, 54 seconds. Carla online, 1 minute and 7 seconds. And Eugene, 1 minute and 15 seconds. I might have to ask for some expertise on this. Is there a 30-second buffer in terms of whether the ones that are under a minute but over 30 seconds? Okay, so everyone qualifies. We're all winners.
Thank you, Neil. And the last point that I want to share really quick with you guys, after giving yourself some time, after you gather some relevant information and you're trying to finally figure out which one you're going with, you want to weigh in the pros and the cons, because what if you carry out these decisions over the other? How will it affect the people around you or yourself even? Look at the consequences, and if it outweighs the other, choose one over the other. The next portions of this meeting is the general evaluator for this evening, and he actually placed 3rd in the District 37 table contest. So please welcome Eric.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lan, and to all of those, especially our immediate past president, David, who helped me prepare for the contest. So good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm Eric Laxer. I will be coordinating the evaluation portion of our evening. Intrinsic in the word evaluation is value, and the meaning of value carries with it importance. usefulness, implying something that is helpful. And that is the significance of feedback, because with feedback, all of us have opportunities to learn and grow. And with that, I would like to introduce our first evaluator for this evening. It will be our current president, Toastmaster Vanessa, who will be providing feedback for Toastmaster David on his speech titled The Selfish Leader. Please join me in welcoming Vanessa.
Thank you, Eric. And thank you also to David, our immediate past president, who gave us an excellent speech about his leadership style. Although I disagree with the title of his speech, I will try to provide an objective evaluation, because I must say I don't think you are a very selfish leader at all. But I'll play along for the purpose of this. And David, one thing that you were wanting to work on with your speech tonight was pacing. And this is something I also try to work on quite a bit. It's so easy, as we all know, when we get up on stage, we have all this nervous energy. It's easy to rush through our speaking. And unfortunately, the audience sometimes gets left in the dust a little bit if we're speaking a little bit too fast for the audience to follow along. And one thing I think you did really well with your pacing tonight is your introduction was so clear and crisp. I am not joking about this. I honestly thought that you reminded me of a TED Talk speaker in the way that you introduced your topic. You spoke in short sentences. And what I mean by that is you would have a short statement, pause, and then another short statement. For instance, you said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but you said, I took a quiz about my leadership style. Now, I'm not sure that any quiz can accurately capture anyone's leadership style, but I'll blah, blah, blah. And that's just an example. But as you notice, those pauses were so effective because the audience was waiting on your every word. They were wanting to hear what your next sentence or statement was going to be. One thing I think you could work on to challenge yourself in the area of pacing is even a longer pause between what I will call paragraphs in your speech. And what I mean by that is if you're about to switch to a very different topic, it can be helpful to have more of a pause and perhaps even an introductory statement to sort of prime your listeners that you are going to switch gears. For instance, you talked to us about a pharmaceutical executive and you told us this really quite harrowing story about him, but then you switched gears to talk about yourself. And one thing you could do is an even longer pause and then maybe an intro statement such as, now I know nothing about pharmaceuticals, but blah, 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 here's something about me. That's something you could try in your next speech. In terms of narrative structure, I loved your imagery. I love the stories you used. One thing you could do at the end to bring it home to the audience is just restate your point. I know it takes away from that valuable 7 minutes you have, but sometimes restatement can be your best friend in terms of listeners like me who've kind of let their brain go on vacation at the end of the day, and restating your main point can be really effective. Even though it's not as interesting as your story, sort of pretend like we are a little bit slow on the uptake and need the extra help. And that would be super helpful for listeners. But overall, loved your speech, and I'm so excited to hear your next one. And with that, I'll turn it back to our general evaluator.
Thank you, Vanessa. Our second speaker this evening was Dr. Harvey Tran. The title of his speech was Your New Source of Capital, Social Capital, and his speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Stewart. Please join me in welcoming Stewart.
Thank you, Eric. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, my name is Stuart Bryson, and I will have the honour of evaluating Dr. Harvey Tran's speech for this evening. Dr. Harvey Tran delivered a very engaging and interesting speech as always. He started off with questions to pull in and include the audience, asking who here engages in social media and who here has a Twitter. And this has been a common theme throughout Dr. Tran's speeches. He always includes the audience, brings everyone in. In fact, I remember in one of Dr. Tran's early speeches, he actually walked through the audience with the microphone, picked people out and asked them questions on the spot and immediately had everyone's attention. So I would just say, Dr. Tran, well done on continuing that practice. It seems like you're starting to develop that more and more. Then you went on to explain to the audience what social capital is. You explained that we build this by creating relationships online and strengthening those. You then went on to verify your point by showing us your own social media accounts and explaining how you have leveraged them and how you've used your social capital. By providing this verification of your previous points, you're using, once again, your social capital to convince us of your argument. So I thought that was very interesting. And it's great to see firsthand how this has influenced, or how you've been able to use this for your influence. It was also interesting that you then went on to discuss the rock trading account, a friend that sounds like a mentor who you've learned from. And that's a good example for us to find someone who maybe is in the same business or has the same interests or would write similar content that we can look to as an example or a mentor. I've actually seen the rock trading account comment on Twitter frequently as well. So I thought it was interesting that you had known him that long. And it again, just provided further reinforcement of the points that you'd made before. I thought that the PowerPoints that you used were excellent. They were very simple, very clean. I was sitting right at the back of the room and I could see them very easily. And I liked that you kept the argument in general very simple. At times, I felt like you could slow down a little to let us digest some of your points. Again, I think they were very strong points, and I think you could have taken some gaps to just let us digest and place maybe a little bit more emphasis on certain parts of your discussion. Towards the end, your speech took a very encouraging tone, telling us to just do it. And ultimately, I think that improved the ending of the speech and made everyone feel a bit more involved. The only point that I would have to take it to the next level would be to maybe suggest some starting points for some people who are considering developing social capital. For those that maybe want to begin a Twitter or a blog about certain subjects and to start developing that. But overall, the content was great. I thought you delivered a very enjoyable speech, and thank you for sharing that with us.
I would now like to call for a timer's report. Toastmaster Neil, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Eric. What a couple of great, insightful evaluations. Vanessa, your evaluation came in at 3 minutes, 14 seconds. And Stuart, your evaluation was 3 minutes, 21 seconds. Back to you, Mr. Evaluator.
Thank you. And I would now like to take a few moments and provide some general evaluation of our meeting this evening. I'd like to start with Toastmaster Lan. Kudos to you. I thought you did an outstanding job. I love the way you started. You asked us to turn to our neighbor and engage them in a very quick, simple conversation. But I thought that was an excellent icebreaker for the meeting as a whole, and maybe it's something we should think of doing more of in the future. Your theme was on point, making decisions. It's something all of us go through in life. It's always nice to have a little bit of extra advice on ways to make proper decisions. I thought you were excellent in the way you conducted yourself up here. You were smiling, your vocal tone was great, and you seemed very comfortable. And I think that that was a great way for you to lead and conduct the meeting. So excellent job. Toastmaster Sean, I thought table topics was excellent. I think when you were doing your table topics, one of the things that I realized was it's important to be a good listener. Table topics focuses on giving a response, but in situations in life, sometimes you might be in an interview or you're dealing with a customer or a client and they ask you a question and you didn't really listen to them and you start answering the wrong thing. And that can be very embarrassing. So part of what I liked the way you presented tonight was you made everybody really listen carefully to the question. So that was really great. Our motivational speaker, John, wow, every time I hear you talk, it gets better and better. And I was taking notes, which I will not only go back and read, but I will watch what you said today. And I'm going to have other people in my family watch your speech as well. And if there was a better word than outstanding to describe how I thought you presented, I would use it, but I just don't know that there is a better word than outstanding. Feedback to both of our evaluators. You guys did a fantastic job. I think these were two great examples of what good feedback should be. You identified the positive aspects of our speaker speeches, and you presented helpful suggestions, and you made your suggestions with what I would say is kindness, tact, and respect. And I think you hit all the key elements by doing it that way. I'd also like to give kudos to President Vanessa for helping introduce our guests and also intervening and helping move things along a little bit at various parts of the meeting. And Dr. Tran and both of you did a great job engaging our guests at the beginning of the meeting. I would now like to call for a grammarian report for Toastmaster Andrea, who we all appreciate, regardless of what role she has. I had to get that in at the very, very end because I realized I did not use it. So please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Andrea.
Okay. So those that said appreciation, apparently they appreciated me today. That was Neil, Dr. Harvey, Junior, Carla, and Dr. Eric. So let's give them a hand. First of all, I wanted to share one thing. I know the word was appreciation, and it was something I meant to share, that if there are 4.2 million RNs in the world, and there are 900,000 LPNs in the world, in the United States, and over 325 nurse practitioners. I have the best one, Dr. Kimberly. But guess what? We still need more. So if you're considering a new occupation, nursing is the place to go. So let's go into what we have here. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and I'm going to see who was listening other than me. Okay, so someone said I am a selfish leader. All right, somebody said social capital creates relationships over time. All right, somebody else said, no, I don't like this company. Yes. Let's see, what's some other cute things I heard. Oh, what was that one? It was smirky. Yeah, smirky smile. He had a smirky smile. You can't answer for yourself, David. That's not fair. And the least modernized. Yes. And the thing was on point. Nobody? That was not good. He just said it. And slow down and let us digest. Right. And this one was great. Wow. Every time. Dr. Eric. So those were some of the fun things that I heard during the meeting. Also, I forgot one more thing. Be organized, be interactive, be consistent, be respectful, monetize, think big, and just do it. Right. So those were the good things I heard today. There were some people, Lan said so, she said so. David said, let's see who else. Dr. Harvey was really good today. Taki, you said a couple of uhs. Jean, you said about 7 times. So you said and let's see who else. Eric, you had a couple of so's, a couple of ands. And I think that was about it. Everybody did really well today, and I appreciate everyone. Back to you, General Evaluator.
I would like to thank our timer, our evaluators, and our grammarian for adding value to today's meeting. And I will now turn this back to our Toastmaster of the day, Lan.
Thank you all for coming in today and participating and signing up for roles. Actually, as this time, I would like to ask for a ballot counter which we are improvising tonight. So I only have one, which is the best table topics for this evening. And that goes to our guest tonight, Junior. For our guests, our first time guest today, if you have decided to go ahead and sign up for Toastmasters, please feel free to see one of us, our club members that has one of these tags, name tags, and we'll point you to the right directions. And for our Toastmasters and members, please sign up for roles next week. And final comments, tonight was actually my first time being a Toastmaster. It wasn't as scary as I thought it was. Thank you all. And I know that I've shared 3 points, so I know that sometimes strategic planning doesn't always work and decisions can be very, very hard to make. So if you're still stuck in between 2 decisions, just pick one so that you can work towards it. And the worst feeling to feel is being stuck in the middle because you can't go nowhere. And at this time, I would like to return it to our president, Madam Toastmaster Vanessa.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lan. Excellent job
think
as
I
our
said that wrong.
Toastmaster of the evening. It's hard for me to believe that this is your first time because you were so poised and did such an excellent job. Thank you. All right, before we close the meeting, a couple quick announcements, and then we'll turn it over to our guests to give us some feedback. But first, I did want to just send out a quick reminder to our board members that next Tuesday at 5:30 on Zoom, the same Zoom link as this meeting, we will have our executive board meeting for the month of May. So if you can make it at 5:30, just click on the same link and we'll just stay on that link for the rest of the meeting. Are there any other board member announcements before we turn it over to our guests?
You might want to mention, I think, come June, we're going to be electing some new officers.
Right, that is a good reminder, yes. So if anyone is interested in leadership in the club, either something like one of the roles you've seen with VP of Education or VP of Public Relations, VP of Membership, President, etc., we are doing elections next month. So please let one of us know and we will definitely put your name in our ballots. And yes, so more details will be coming on the elections soon. All right. Well, with that, we usually like to ask our guests for any feedback. So I know we have a few guests who are in person tonight. Would anyone like to share thoughts, ideas from tonight's meeting?
Well, we actually have a guest who used to be a member who just stepped in. Want to introduce Ali. Any thoughts?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This way. I see new faces. I recognize like not 80% of the people in here, I don't know your face. So how you guys doing today? If you noticed when I came here, I went straight to the water. I was playing basketball right when I came here. Low key did come here because I know we had water and I needed some water. But I will say this though, this year I'm really focused on fitness because I say, what's the point of being having money and all that type of stuff without being healthy? So I want to say everybody should be fit in the best shape they could be in. And there's free resources, there's Meetup, there's Facebook groups. I say if you have money, pay for a trainer, pay to join a group because they can hold you accountable and try to work out at least 5 days a week and everybody be 100% healthy.
Thank you, Ali. And then I want to introduce our continual guest, Heather. Do you know anything about health? Is that important or no?
Yes.
Okay. Any thoughts?
I think it's everything. I mean, it's what's going to give us longevity. It's what's going to give us the energy to continue to pursue all of our dreams. And I mean, health is everything. It's life. It's a privilege to be healthy, and to not take advantage of that is sad. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Junior? our winner again tonight. Any thoughts about the meeting?
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here with you guys, just practicing my communication skills. And thanks for having me again.
Not even going to try to pronounce your name, but I know it's your second meeting. So any thoughts from you?
Yeah, thank you for having me today. This is my second meeting and I really appreciate this meeting. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing your guests.
I really like the structure you guys have with the meetings and how you have different roles. I think it's very efficient and I love efficiency. So
Thank you. All right. And Vanessa, if you want to talk to our online guests.
Absolutely. We have two online guests. We have Gladys and Eugene on Zoom. Would either of you like to share some feedback or thoughts, ideas from tonight's meeting?
I want to just share some quick feedback. Just glad to be back as a guest right now. And I think you guys are doing a really good job with the changes that have been made, with still allowing us to join by Zoom and also having the in-person, which is really where I'm looking to get back into the fold again. So I appreciate what you guys are doing and I look forward to attending again. Thanks.
Awesome. Great to have you back, Eugene.
Hi, this is Gladys Knights, and I thoroughly enjoyed the flow of the meeting. Everyone had really engaging topics, and the way you guys held each other accountable was really cool too. With a lot of positive and reinforcing feedback. It was really good. So I look forward to attending again next time.
Wonderful. We're so glad you could join us tonight.
Thanks.
All right, I believe that is all of our guests. So with that, thank you again, everyone, for coming out to support the meeting tonight, and we'll see you all next Tuesday. Have a great evening.